Hey, it's time at Dish with D. That's me. Thank you for clicking on this video, making yourself a priority. I am Denise. It is Saturday. And Saturday on this channel is my weekly weigh-in and the Weight Watchers weekly meeting topic of the week that they discuss at their now virtual workshops, but it was always in-person workshops. So I bring it to you as a lifetime member. I get the app, and I'm currently over goal, but not by much. But I get my app, I get my weekly topic, and you seem to enjoy it. A lot of you don't get to meetings, and you say this is your meeting, and that's wonderful. So remember, this is my spin on the topic. I read what they say, and then I kind of interpret it how I like to interpret it, because it is Dish with DS, you know. So that is it for me. Oh, we're ending the video already, D? All right, two things. Number one, my weekly weigh-in. The scale, I was up 0.2. I was a bit shocked, but you know what? Like I always say, it's a fluctuation. Did I have a good week? Yes. Would I change anything? No. So what do I always say? The scale's going to say what the scale's going to say. Does that mean does it mean the scale's right? That's what the scale says. Do I sit there and go nuts about it? No, because I knew I had a good week. I knew I couldn't have had a better week. So for me, that's what the scale says. And remember, Weight Watchers does give you a 2-pound fluctuation. So they know at any given time, I haven't drank much today, you can go up or down 2 pounds. Same thing with loss. If we have a great loss, do we question that? Like, maybe we lost too much. No, we never question that. So why is it we always question the gains? We never question the losses? Because it can fluctuate either way some weeks. So always remember that. Like, I always remember people, like when they have these huge losses, they never sit there and say, well, that was way too much. Maybe I got rid of too much fluid. No, but we always complain about the gain, that we gained too much, or we're retaining fluid. So if we can gain from fluid, we also could lose from fluid. So don't ever just sit there because you have a loss to think that that's always a win, because sometimes that's not a true, really loss. Fluid is not a loss. We want to lose fat. Fat. So like I said, am I disappointed? Not really. I mean, 0.2 is 0.2. But I have a funny story. I did it with my new scale today, and I thought, just to see what it was. What's a pound more? The new scale is the Weight Watchers Bluetooth digital, and it supposedly does all this bells and whistles I have not read yet. And I'm like going, do I really want to use that? Because it's a pound more. I know all scales are different. That is true. All scales are different. How do we know that the Weight Watch one isn't real? Maybe that's what I really weigh. Maybe. So, you could take it for a grain of salt. That's what I want to say. So pick a scale that you like. It will show a loss or a gain. But you know what? 2 scales with 2 different weights can be a bit confusing. So I'm going to decide what we're going to do with that scale yet. We might not use it until my scale breaks. Let's put it that way. But let's get to the weekly topic at hand, shall we? And we're going to have our weight loss wisdom questions right after this. You guys, I look like there's several. I'm like, I hope this video is not too long. All right, Weight Watcher says, by Beth James O'Keefe, what to eat in tricky situations. Oh, it's my favorite kind of topic. Almost out of points. Feeling hangry. Off track. Following a setback. Scenarios like these are common. Learn how to use your go-to foods to navigate through them. Try this. The situation. Running low on points. Create a meal or a snack using your favorite high-protein, 0-point food like chicken, breast, or eggs, fiber-rich produce. Or the situation could be hungry between meals. Go to your high-protein, 0-point foods. Now, should you eat your face off of them? No. But should you have a serving of them? Yes. Always remember, even though they're 0 points, they're not 0 calories, and we really should keep to the serving size of everything. Make it work for you. Buy and prep ingredients now so they are ready at the moment or stock your freezer or pantry with quick prep foods like frozen edamame and canned tuna. I definitely have that stockpiled. Edamame and tuna, fun fact. I have a lot. For me, it's beans. I have a stockpile of different types of beans, kidney beans, cannellini beans, chickpeas. I even have dried beans because you can make them in the Instant Pot. They're fantastic. But yeah, if I need to make a little prep, I have hummus. I could prep at any given time. My hummus is 0 points. It is chickpeas, it is non-fat Greek yogurt, it is lemon juice, it is garlic, and a little bit of olive oil. Again, you can put as little or as much as you like. I mean, I only put for the whole batch, maybe half a tablespoon. So honestly, for the whole batch, and it makes a lot. So I keep those on hand. And tuna is such high in protein, and it's such a good filling. And it's tuna. Like, who doesn't love tuna? Well, there might be people that don't love tuna, but who doesn't love tuna? Chicken. Like, I try to keep cooked chicken in the fridge. So at any given time, I could just whip a little, dip it in some G. Hughes barbecue sauce. Dip it in the hummus. Make a chicken salad. Now, a tablespoon of mayo is 1 point. Whoopie-doo. But you could use yogurt if you choose. So there's always things that you need to have in your arsenal. I know some people can't afford to have all these things. Like, I can't afford to. I live week to week. I can't have all these things. That's why I went with beans, because beans are cheap. We all could have beans. So I feel like beans are something that you could have that's very, very affordable. Off track and want to reset? Use the app's recipe finder or what's in your fridge tool to map out a delicious meal featuring lower point foods you love. If you go in the app in the search and you search, like if you want to do an Instant Pot, you just put Instant Pot and all the Instant Pot recipes come up. So that's a really good resource that if you have that app is those recipes. And if you have iTrack Bites, they have the same thing if you have the Pro. Or just Google it. If you don't have, either that, Google low fat, low calorie, whatever you want to make. Go on Pinterest. There are several things there. Pinterest is a hub of recipes, but always make sure you put it in the builder so you know exactly many points it is. Set your table and plate for your food like you're in a restaurant. This can help you make a meal feel special and get you excited about a comeback. I've done videos on that. It works to a certain point, but you know what? We're all about the food. Let's put it out there. It could be on a pretty plate. It's about the food. So I say go on dishwithdee.com and find a nice light, there's tons of them there. If I've made it, it's light and it's good. If it's out there, it's good. I don't put anything else that's not good. And you want it to be like, my food is so hitting the note of the foods that you like that you will be like, wow, this hummus, you don't miss the tahini, because the tahini, the sesame paste, is what causes you to have points. I mean, granted, you can get a hummus that are 2 points for 2 tablespoons, or a point for 2 tablespoons, which isn't tragic, really. But if you want a 0 point option, you're at a restaurant with tons of options. Decide how many points you want to spend, then look at the foods you enjoy at that range. The restaurant finder in the app can help. It does. It's very good. You could search by restaurant. You could search by points. If you're unsure of the point value for a specific restaurant or menu item, guesstimate. Or use items from a similar spot to help you guide you. You could look another recipe up. Say it's like chicken marsala. You can Google chicken marsala in the app and it'll give you restaurant, or Google the restaurant for chicken marsala and it'll give you points. Now, what I like to do is sometimes I look at the menu, I look what's in it, and I just deconstruct it. Oh, there's wine in it, there's oil in it, so I sit there and imagine how much you're going to use for one serving. They're not using a half a cup on your serving. Maybe they are when they cook it, but you're not getting that. I allow a couple tablespoons here, a couple tablespoons there. So I kind of deconstruct, there's cream in it. So there's always ways to figure it out. Give it something. Don't sit there and say, I don't know, so I'm not going to put anything. No, there's always something in the app that's pretty comparable, or like I said, you can just deconstruct the ingredients. Let's dive a little deeper. If these solutions seem a little, obviously great, it means you already have an idea of how to handle a situation that tends to trip up members. But as the saying goes, knowing it is only half the battle. The other is actually making it happen, because sometimes we tend to give up. Like, I can't worry about it. It's not in the app. It doesn't matter. It always matters, because you have to worry about tomorrow. What you eat today affects tomorrow. So don't always, especially when it's a holiday. Like, I'm all for eating, what you want on a holiday. but you need to know how many points you have left for the next day, because the next day is not the holiday. So I need to know how many points I have left in my weekly bank for the next day. So always track it. Eat what you want, but track it so know what you need to subtract. By identifying and planning the go-to foods and move ahead of time, there's a little to mull over in the moment when also contending with a grumbling stomach and a lack of points, feeling about to past behaviors or anything else that can make you choosing what's right for your extra hard, makes you feel extra hard. What's more, incorporating foods you're excited to eat, and those plans means it's even easier to go to with choices aligned for your goals. Like, when you look forward to something, it tastes so much better. When you want to eat something, it tastes so much better. I've seen people sit there and tell me they don't really like the food that they're eating. They're eating because it's low in points. Please. You're never going to sustain your loss. You just never are, because you need to like what you're eating. And if you're not liking what you do, we need to talk. We need to figure out how we can get the food you love in your belly. Maybe it's preparing them. I know it sounds horrid, like, oh my God, I don't want to cook. I'm not asking you to cook. I'm asking you just to prepare. There's a difference. We're not making 5-star gourmet meals. We're just making basic food that we like, and food that we can tweak fit into our budget and to be delicious and satisfying, because satisfaction's where it's at. If you're not satisfied, you're going to keep looking, and we don't want that. We don't want you to keep looking. We want you to be satisfied with what you are eating. All right, 3 fast facts. Incorporate the foods you love and help you make healthier eating more enjoyable. There's a way that we can fit everything in. Everything is on the menu, just not in the amounts that we're used to. And wouldn't you rather have a little bit of something fabulous than a lot of something not fabulous? Leading on lower points go-to unlocks more opportunities to enjoy higher point favorites. Yep. I'm telling you, if you can find a way to use one of those zeros and incorporate it as a substitute for something, it will work, and it will be just as tasty, maybe even better. Identify the go-to foods ahead of time saves you from having to mull over what eating in challenging situations. Sometimes it's better to know where you're going to eat and then look at the menu and get an idea of what you want, because you're more apt to have more time to do it. They hand you a menu. You're with a crowd of people. You don't have half an hour to figure out what the points are in this thing. It's better to know where you're going, check out the menu, figure it out at home. So when you're in there, you don't even have to look at the menu. I know what I'm getting. I have a backup, because sometimes they don't have that option. That's happened to me. So definitely pick out 2 options. And sometimes if you ask the restaurant, they will accommodate anything you want. You want to bake like this, just say, hey, can I have that with less oil? Can I have that with, baked, not fried, broiled, not fried? Ask. You never know what they're going to do for you, because they want to please you. So you are the customer. Used to be always right. I'm not sure if they are anymore, but they used to be. So let's go to our Wednesday wisdom questions. I have one from last week that she messaged me. All right, let's see. I work hard using my 0-point foods without going into my weeklies. I save those weekends and will have 40 plus of those plus my 23 dailies. Is it bad to use these 1 or 2 days? I only have about 10 pounds to lose to get to my goal weight. Not WWs. It's just really slow, and I know to expect that. How does everyone else do with their weekly successfully? So my question is, if it's working, then it's working. Now, I will tell you, the last 10 pounds are always the slowest. So if you're still seeing losses doing that, then I would say keep doing it. But if you see where you're not losing week after week after week after week, then maybe we need to spread out those weeklies. Maybe it's too much to digest in one day. So that's my advice. I know a lot of people that do that save it for the weigh-in day and they have the big meal. For me, it doesn't work, because it sets me up for the next day to want more. So if you're successful, you're already getting right back on track, bravo. For me, it was very difficult to have that big day and then go right, it's like, and it's not like it's a holiday big day. It's a big day where you have 30, some of us have 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 weeklies that we're shoving down. That's a lot. And we're talking rich, creamy, dense, fried foods. That's what we're eating because we have the points for it. Unless you're going to Cheesecake Factory, because a piece of Cheesecake Factory cheesecake is 85 points. And I don't think anything's worth 85 points. Now, if I went there, I would have a few bites of that cheesecake, sure. But to have a whole piece, I don't know if I could justify spending 85 points on a piece of cheesecake. And would I even be could I even get it down? Probably not. We think we can, and sometimes we try to shove it down because, I'm eating this. And then you wind up feeling bloated and sick. So if you're like eating those, if you eat these weeklies, are you at the end of the day just feeling like, oh? Because if you are, then it might not be the best idea. But if you're leaving and feeling, I feel pretty good, then, or maybe you're using it on adult beverages. Because let's face it, adult beverages, oh my gosh, you can suck down the points quickly with adult beverages. And that might be your thing. You go out with your husband every Saturday night, you go to the bar, you have a few. And we all know bar food, pickies, is not always the best options, but, that's what you save it for. If you're doing that, then make sure you're dancing in between. Drink your water in between your adult beverage. Water helps flush out anything impure. Always remember that. Plain old H2O. I've been seeing results since I've been drinking more water. It's hard, yes. It's very hard. But fill it and I will drink. So I do it first thing in the morning. I fill it up before I even think it's sitting there waiting for me to be filled. And I sit it next to me. So I'm always, you find yourself just gravitating it. It does the body good. So let's get the rest. That was from last week. These are the questions from this week. There's a lot. Do you feel like when you drink a lot of water during the day that your desire for food is not as bad? I can tell the difference as I increase my water. No. For me, no. For me, food is food, and I want to chew. So, and I do think it's a mental thing for me. Like I mentally want to eat it. Do I get hunger pains? If I'm eating regularly, I don't usually. If I've maybe didn't have lunch for some reason, I may get hunger pains around dinner. Like if I'm out and I somehow skip lunch and then I try to go to dinner, it doesn't always work for me. I get like hangry. So if I definitely don't eat within my windows, that's when I feel it more than the water. But it could be, like I said, sometimes it's mind over matter, and whatever works for you, works for you. So bravo if that helps. How do you stay motivated? I get this question all the time. Because what other option do I have? And here's the thing about being motivated. Sometimes you have a bad week. And guess what? It's okay. You just know that, all right, I had the bad week, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen a lot. Like, not every month, but it's going to happen a few times a year, and it's all right. It's normal. It's normal. And that's the only thing, like, we can't be on this 150%. There's sometimes you have downtime. You're very normal for having downtime. There's days and weeks you gain because, you know what? It's just the week I had. And it's okay. It's normal to have fluctuations. It's normal to gain. It's normal to have weeks where you just, like, kind of just want to take a break. And it's good. I think sometimes when you take that break, you come back extra motivated. So that usually helps. But you just have to realize that what you do is normal. When you have things like I had a 2.2 gain, I'm not going to go broken up about it. I'm not going to get aggravated about it because it's normal. It's normal to fluctuate. When it's normal to fluctuate down, it's normal to fluctuate up. So always realize that and just move on. And this is your lifestyle. And you're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. It's kind of like anything in life. You just, you put in the group, you ask somebody, I'm not feeling it. And let somebody put some words of wisdom into your head, and that might help. How to stop snacking so late at night just because you're bored. How to stay motivated and not give up when you go over your points, but way under calories. Should I not worry about the calories or just stay in my points? This is a big one. Snacking so late at night. Honestly, I don't snack. I got into a habit. I tell this story. I had severe reflux. If I snacked, I got sick. Oh, yeah. So I learned if I ate at a certain time, like most times I would finish at dinner. And if you have a satiating dinner, I'm going to be honest with you, unless you're just eating out of boredom, which you did mention, that could be it. Find something that entertains you. Like, I know a lot of people get hungry because they're eating vegetables at dinner. They're eating like chicken and broccoli and corn, or chicken and carrots and like, where's the starch? Where's the carb? I know carbs are getting a bad rap these days, but if you have a potato, a good carb, like there's nothing wrong with a beautiful potato. Potatoes are all natural food. They're grown in the ground. You measure your 2-3 ounces of potato. you'll find you will keep you fuller the rest of the night when you're having something like a starch. Have a whole grain, have a quinoa, have a couscous. There's so many ancient grains you can make. Rice, brown rice. I mean, there's nothing easier than making brown rice in the Instant Pot. Have 3/4 of a cup for 5 points. Or if you want to have half a cup for 3, have a grain, have a carb, have something that's going to stick to your ribs. And you may find that you're not as hungry at night. And if you're still hungry, what is the all additive? We make hot air popcorn. But don't sit there and have a bowl of it. I think it's 1.5 tablespoons makes 3 cups of popcorn. That's what you have. That is a serving of popcorn. So that's what I would recommend. Stay motivated when you're over your points but under in calories. My question is the foods that you're eating. If you're way under, are you way under in calories? I would say change up some of the foods you're eating. Amp up your dairy. If you're having almond milk, have cow's milk. If you're having low-fat cheese, have full-fat cheese. Yogurt, go from a fat-free yogurt to a 1 or 2% yogurt. And same thing with cottage cheese. Like, have higher point bread, which is higher calories. So check and see how that works. Look at the things you're eating and how could you have them higher in calories? Right there, I just named off a rampant breads, yogurts, cottage cheese, cheeses, milks. Right there's 5 things you could raise the calorie count on and see how it goes, is what I would say. Do you add a set amount of weekly points to your daily points every day, or do you just use them as needed? I just use them as needed. Most times it tends to be 2 to 3 guaranteed, and then it just depends on what else we have. I tend to use mine for oils. I tend to use mine for cheese. I tend to use mine for sauces, things like that. Things like salad dressings lately have been my thing that I need to use points for. So higher point breads. I love the Dave's Killer bread. It's not gluten-free anymore, so I need to find a new bread. But that's what I was eating. And that was a 3-point slice of bread. That is something I choose. Avocado. I choose to have 2 points of avocado. You could have 1 point, you could have a 0-point amount, but I chose to have 2 points. So there's where my points go, to good fats. Good things that are good for you. Olive oil is fantastic for you. Avocado is great for you. Nuts are good for you. Are they higher on points? Yes. So those are the things you could add into your day to up your points and up your fats if you need them. Sometimes we try to eat too low fat. I believe in low fat, but I don't believe in barely any fat. So you gotta have some fat in your diet. I am already regretting my new WW Bluetooth scale. What was I thinking? I am fixated on the number once a week at WW weigh-in. Now I'm faced with every morning and body fat, water content, BMI, bone and body mass numbers. This is making me nuts. I feel very unhealthy mentally and physically. Then don't use it. You don't have to turn on those bells and whistles. You don't have to Bluetooth it. You can just... I used it this morning. It was, I think, a pound heavier than my home scale, so I'm not using it. Sorry, not sorry. It's a mental thing, and Weight Watchers knows that. They know that this journey's up here. So if they sit there and get on our case for not using it, well, then I'll just ship it back to them. But yeah, at this point, it's sitting there. I'm still staying with Mother Scale because I'm not. We fight hard enough now. I got to start with a pound more. That's not right. So I would say don't use it. Now, they can't make us use it. We didn't sign anything. So they can't make you use it. So that's what I would say. Don't use it. What is your take on using full-fat dairy since studies are showing that benefits over using fat-free dairy? The benefits change. It is it drives you nuts. I tend to stick in the middle of everything. I don't go full fat. I don't go no fat. I go low fat. That's how I deal with it because honestly, from day one, full fat dairy was causing people, I shouldn't say causing people, but that's all they ever had was full fat dairy. So back in the day, people were dying from heart attacks, heart disease. So that's when low fat and fat free came out. Well, everybody's on the fat free bandwagon. Well, fat free's okay for some things, but they add so many things into the fat free to make it taste palatable because it doesn't. So then they're adding those things, which are not always the best options either. So like I say, I stay middle of the line. I stay low fat. I think there's nothing wrong with low fat dairy. But like I say, studies go up and down all the time. I don't live and die by studies and what people say because it changes. I mean, eggs were good, eggs were bad, eggs were good, eggs are good again. Same thing with like, oh, don't char your steak if you overcook your, it's like coffee wasn't good for us. So I don't live and die by certain studies. I tend to stick in the middle of it. That's how I do it. We all have our choices to make. You do, you boo, if that's what you want to do. But always remember that full fat of everything is not good for cholesterol. It's not good for coronary artery disease. So I feel like anything middle of the line is where I like to stay, right here. I'm waiting for the day when we hear that cute, like, have we ever heard somebody dying from like artificial sweeteners or dying from things that people get all like, oh, I'm not going to use that. Have you ever died from that or got sick? No, because there's somebody that does a study that if people get on the bandwagon, it's like, you can find a study to back up anything that you want. You can find a doctor to agree with you. You can find a nutritionist to agree with you. You could, what I'm saying? There's always somebody that's going to, be that way. So I tend to stick in the middle. I think it's like, what is it? Greenland, or there's a name for a country that people say, I am, I can't remember the name of the country, but that's what I am. I just stick in the middle and I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I don't do a lot of anything because I think a lot of anything high fat is bad as much as a lot of no fat is bad. It's got to go both ways. So I stick in the middle. That's just easier for me. Because there's going to be a study out, and how do you stay on plan during parties and other social events? Number one, I make sure I eat well before I go, and it doesn't have to be pointed foods. You could eat a beautiful salad, you could eat hummus, you could eat vegetables. Don't go anywhere hungry, and I think that is a lot of us, oh, I'm saving my points for the party, I'm saving my points, so you don't eat all day. That's not because you go in there hangry. No, go in there. It's a party. It's another meal. So you just try to do accordingly. I always say check out what's there before you make a plate because you don't know what's going to be down that other end of that buffet table. I've many times oh, this is good. And I get down there's some beautiful shrimp I would have loved to put on my plate, but there's no room. So so check out everything and then decide what you want to spend your points on. Go into your weekly points. You have them. Go into them, but go into them for good food. Like there might be barbecued chicken thighs. Bottom line, they're chicken. Yes, we have to count thighs, but is a thigh a better option than a burger with cheese and bacon? Pick your poison. Like you have to make the best options of what's out there. Like I can do this, and and I always tend to start with a green salad and I tend to put onto that. Like I would put that thigh. I wouldn't think twice about putting the thigh on. When I hear people condemn thighs, it breaks my heart because thighs are having a moment in my house. We are enjoying thighs. But yeah, they're points. They're a little bit more of a meatier, fattier type of cut of chicken, but it's still chicken. So always keep that in mind. Would I rather have a bacon cheeseburger or a barbecue chicken thigh? Barbecue chicken thighs, of course. And sometimes there's seafood and sometimes there's fruit plates. So always sit there and check everything out anywhere. And then like I'm going to a party today, I have no idea what's served. We're going to it's a baby shower luncheon. I have no idea. Normally like I wonder if I could Google the restaurant, but it could be they could have a specific menu to this party. So but I'm going to do there and make the best choices I can. I'm going to go up and have breakfast because I'm not going to skip breakfast because we're going to a lunch. I'll just have, brunch. I love the people that just do I'll eat later. I don't need to wait that long to eat. I'm going to go up. I'm going to have scrambled eggs and mushrooms because I sauteed mushrooms up. And I'm so excited. I love that. I may even throw some potatoes in there, some shredded potatoes, because I need to have something in my stomach. If I go in there only having a fried egg and, and I'm going to go there, I'll just eat brunch, and it doesn't always work. It doesn't. You have to make sure you're eating enough. And sometimes there are people that don't eat enough because they're too afraid because they're going out. So you just have to go in there with a plan, prepared, and like I say, scope it out first. You got to look at everything that's there and decide what you want to spend your points on. Because like I said, there could be something on the other side of that thing that might be even better. And never be afraid of a steak. Steak sounds like it's a bad rap. I had a nice filet last week. It was delicious. But that is it for the questions. So thank you so much, my wonderful crew, for supporting them, for providing them, and providing inspiration. Remember, these are just my opinions, my take on these subjects. You could think anything you want. You could disagree with me. You could say, D, you're nuts. Full fat is where it's at. Hey, if that works for you, then bravo. But my question is with the full fat. How much full fat are you having? I've seen people that I'm eating real butter and I have like a quarter of a teaspoon. Seriously, I'd rather have a teaspoon of light butter than a quarter teaspoon of real butter, because honestly, it's going to taste the same. It's going to taste the same. So remember, light is not always bad. Fat-free, yeah, fat-free is not the best for some things. Not going to lie. But I say stick with your low-fat cheeses. They're absolutely, I don't know, they're good. They're good for me, and like I said, good for my blood work. So that's where I stand. But you can stand where you need to stand. So if you enjoyed this video, you know to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, join us here at Dish with D. We are slaying our weight loss 1 pound at a time. We are in the midst of I'm paralleling the Weight Watchers Summer Reset Challenge. So we are trying to do that here because people couldn't get in it. So a few of us that are in it are going to share a few tips. There's not much going to be going on, I can tell you that. So we are on week 1, and we are still in week 1. It is tracking. I think it resets maybe Monday. I don't know. I've only been in it since Tuesday or Wednesday. So it's tracking 7 days strong. So I have tracked every day. I've tracked my water. It's been helpful. So if you know somebody that needs Dish with D and could benefit from this group, please share this video. I would love to have them as part of our crew. We meet here Sunday nights for the Weight Watchers Chit Chat, Weight Loss Support Chit Chat. I can get that out right. We chat, we talk it out, we share. It's a fun chat. So come, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I will dish with you another day. Have a great weekend.